In this tutorial, we are going to silhouette this portrait so that we may add the blue background to make it consistent with our other portraits. So first, let's talk about requirements. We need to have a square image to work with. So we have to start with something where the width and the height equals the same value. And we have to have at least 600 pixels to work with. So in this case, the image satisfies these requirements. We have 1125 width by height, so they match. Okay, so let's get started. Let's first choose the scissor tool and the options that we want with the scissor tool. We do want to feather edges. Let's use a value of 5, and interactive boundary will help us. Now what the scissor tool does is it lets us choose points along this image where there's sharp contrast between one object to the other, in this case the portrait and the background. So let's get started. I am going to hold down the control key, and with the scroll button on my mouse, let's zoom in. Remember that shortcut, it's handy. Now when I click, okay, that's called a node. Our first node is added. Now watch what happens when I add a second node. You'll see a line that connects the two. That is the line that's going to be our selection path. So that looks good so far. So let's continue adding. And as you can see, you could drag a little bit and you can get it just right. In that case, we were off a little bit. Now, as I move up, you'll notice that we're getting outside the window. So if I hold down the space key, I could drag the image. Now let's click, drag, click. Now watch what happens here. Comes off just a little bit on the inside. So let's fix that. Okay, that's better. Continuing on. Now see how that didn't make it? So let's connect it. Good. Okay, and then we just keep adding the points, reviewing as we move along. Hair is a funny thing. As you can imagine, programs have a hard time figuring what the edge is. The good news is you just add the nodes as I'm adding, and that helps give it guidance. If it's a little jaggy, that's fine, because hair is jaggy, and you'll see when we silhouette how that actually helps its appearance in silhouetting against the background. Continue adding nodes. Again, the space bar lets me move the image. And you can see, once you understand what you're doing, this all moves along pretty quickly. In preparing for this, I was able to silhouette a previous image in about 10 minutes. And again, I'm adding nodes so that we can help give definition. Now, in this portrait, what's good about this portrait is that it's well lit and we have good differentiation between the foreground and the background. That's helping us. Remember that you always want to start with a good picture. Regardless of your skills with photo editing software, that's key. You really want to work with good work coming in. So that helps us. Alright, now we're about to close the path we started. So as you can see, the nodes show the line, and this line shows us roughly how it's going to silhouette the image, or select it, okay, because it's really a selection. Now when I hover over the first node we started with, you'll notice that you see two circles on the scissor tool. Let's click on it. We have now closed the path. So let's hit return. And now the path goes away, and we now have a selection, also called dancing ants. As you can see, the animation. And again, the silhouette broadly respects what we set up. There's little nips and tucks we're going to get to. I'll show you how to do that momentarily. All right, very good. So I'm going to hit the minus key. That lets us zoom out. There's another way to do so. And now let's go ahead and fine-tune our selection, because as you can see, there's some areas here that we're missing on that we need to address. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use something called a selection editor. And what that means is when I hold Shift key and type the letter Q, the pink area is the area outside the selection, the clear area is inside. And you can see where this pink area is here. Well, we want to clean that up, so let's go ahead and do so. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in and we're going to use a paintbrush. Now what's neat about this tool is we can actually alter the selection as if we were painting. So I've made, here is the black and white, we set it to white, and watch what happens. Okay? We're taking out that pink area, which means we're really removing that from the selection area. We want to do that. So here, now if I continue to clean that up, just with the paintbrush, take that out. Okay? Very good. That looks good. Now, let's take a look along. I think there was an area here that we might, that's cutting into his ear just a little bit, don't you think? So let's take that out. Control Z for undo anytime you mispoint your mouse. Easy enough to fix. Okay, that looks good. Okay, very good. Now, we've got an interesting problem here with this fellow's glasses. We want to effectively have a donut here since it's transparent, right? So let's change the size of our paintbrush right here with brush. Let's go in here. Now we're going to change so the black is the active color, because we actually are adding to the selection, right? Let's go ahead and do that. So we really just paint in that pink area. Once again, that means the selected area. When we're done, you'll see in a moment. Now, what we've effectively done just now is we've cut out so his glasses have that transparency there. Okay, now I'm going to type Shift Q again, and here we see the selection. So let's move on to the next step. We're actually going to show. Let's go to Layer, Mask, Add Layer Mask. Selection. Now watch what happens. Boom. We have now successfully silhouetted this portrait. Control Shift A will deselect it, and you can see a better preview of the image. So now we are ready to resize the image. So let's go to Image, Scale Image. Again, we're working with a background of 600. Make sure you choose 600 and interpolation. That's the software algorithm used to reduce it. That's the best one. Okay. Hit scale. You can see it reduced. Now, let's wrap it up. We're going to add the background. And this is provided by us to you to use. Now, when we bring it in, no surprise, it's the foreground. It's in front of the portrait we just did. So Control L will bring forward the Layers palette. You click on that layer and see that down arrow? Let's push it down. There he is, silhouetted with the blue background. So finally, I believe you should know now, let's save the file as a JPEG. Let's give it the name of the fellow we're silhouetting. And now we're going to get to the next options. Okay. It's going to ask flatten or merge. Either are fine. Say merge, export. Now you get quality 85 to 89. That's fine. If it's below 85, you can just adjust it with the slider. And under advanced options, we can even trim more file size by disabling EXIF data. Save thumbnail. Okay, we turn those off. That adds data we don't need. And let's click save. And we're done.